They said a girl should never speak against a chief. They said a girl must never question a man. But when fire came for her village, one girl stood up, and what she said changed everything. In the heart of a wide valley, where the hills met the sky, there lived a girl named Nyarai. She was just 14, but her eyes held something different, a light that made her elders whisper and the women pray. In her village, Zuwara, people feared questions, they feared change, and above all, they feared the chief, Chief Mudenda, the man whose word was law. Chief Mudenda was not always cruel. Long ago, they said he was a kind man, but time, power, and greed had changed him. Now, he ruled with iron and fire. His guards walked the dusty path with spears, and his judgment fell like thunder. Narai grew up watching the chief take more and give less. He demanded crops for protection, even in seasons when the rains forgot the land. He took girls to serve in his palace, and they came back with empty eyes. People cried at night, but in the morning they smiled like nothing happened. But in Narai, she asked, why? Why does the chief eat meal while the children eat root? Why do we bow when our backs are already broken? Why do we stay quiet when we want to scream? The mother warned her, child, the chief has ears everywhere. But Nyarai said, if he has ears, let him listen. Then came the worst drought Zuwara had seen in 50 years. The river dried like a cracked pot. The crops died before the dew. Children fainted from hunger. People prayed, danced, cried, but the skies stayed closed. Chief Munanda called for a meeting at the great drum tree. He stood high on the stones, his red robes catching the sun, and he spoke in a voice like a stone. We are being punished, he said. The gods are angry, and to calm them, we must offer a sacrifice. A girl, a pure girl. Silence. People looked around, eyes wide. Then the chief pointed at Narai. Whispers broke out. Some gasped. Others covered their mouth. Her mother fell to the ground, but Nyarai stood still. Her heartbeat was a drum, but her voice was calm. No, she said, and the village froze. The chief laughed. It was not the laugh of a man, it was the growl of a lion. He said no, he said, you dare say no. Nyarai looked him in the eye. The girls are not hungry for girls, they are hungry for justice. A chicken flapped into the bushes. A baby cried. The chief's face twisted. Take her. Two guards came forward, but as they grabbed her arms, something happened. An old man bent like a walking stick stood up. It was Baba Chuku, the village storyteller. I remember the days before this chief. He said, his voice soft but strong. I remember when the land gave plenty, when chiefs served the people, not stole from them. Another woman stood, then a young man, then another. Narai is right. Someone shouted, this is not justice. This is not the sacrifice. She isn't. You are. The chief roared and pointed. Silence them. Chaos broke out. Some fled, some fought. Spears clashed. Cries filled the air, but in her eye, she broke free and ran. She ran past the broken heart, past the reverb, into the forest, the one they called the Whispering Woods. It was said spirits lived there, that no one returned. But Nyarai didn't stop. Her legs were fire, her lungs full of thorns. She ran until the screams faded and the trees swallowed her. Inside the forest, it was dark and strange. Trees leaned close like they were listening. Owls blinked slowly. Wind carried voices. Or was it her mind? She collapsed near a tree, crying, shaking, angry. Why me? She whispered. I am just a girl. Then the tree in front of her shimmered. A woman stepped out, her skin like soil, her hair like vines. You are not just a girl, the spirit said. You are the seed. Nyarai blinked. What? Many fear, few speak, fewer still act. You have spoken, now act. The spirit showed her something, a hidden spring deep in the woods, clean, cold water enough to feed the whole village. You must lead them here, the Spirit said, but they will not believe easily. You must make them see. And just like that, the Spirit was gone. Nyarai filled a gourd and began the long walk back. When Nyarai returned, the village was in ruins, smoke in the air, blood on the ground. The chief had punished those who dared supported her. Houses were burnt, crops trampled, but Nyarai walked straight to the drum tree. She beat the drum. Boom, boom, boom. People came slowly, limping, hid behind trees. Even the chief stepped out, a smirk on his face. Back to die? He asked. No, Nyarai said. Back to lead. She lifted the gourd and poured clean water on the dusty ground. She held up the gourd. There is more, a spring, enough for everyone. You lie, the chief spat. But Baba Chuku stepped forward again. She has seen the spirit of the woods. She brings life. You bring death. People murmured. Some dropped to their knees. Others cried. The chief drew his blade. Then I will end the lie. She charged, but this time no one ran. They stood, they blocked him. The village had risen. The guards, too afraid or too ashamed, dropped their weapons. The chief screamed as they dragged him away, and Nyarai, she led them to the spring. The people drank like newborn babies. They laughed, they danced. Narai did not ask to be chief, but the village gave her the crown made of river reeds. Years passed. The spring became a river. Crops grew. Children sang songs of the girl who said no and meant it. And the story lived on, told by fires in whispers. They say sometimes in the woods the spirit still watches, smiling, because one girl became more than just a voice. She became the wind that changed the mountain. Thank you.